Hello, my name is Bill Sheehy, and today we're going to cover a very important subject we call the right plant in the wrong place. The thing that I like to get across to customers is that you can pick a lot of the natural color that a plant puts out, that it doesn't have to be flowering. It can have the blues, it can have the greens, it can have the reds, it can have the yellows, and producing these colors basically 12 months of the year and generating tremendous interest for the landscape without having to be flowering. And one color just helps the other, it makes them jump out. The other thing is form. You can get into pyramids, you can get into spirals, you can get into all kinds of interesting forms for these same plants that will really help accentuate a really interesting landscape design. The other thing we need to talk about is, as I said, right plant, wrong spot, is for some reason people will pick the most beautiful plants for sun, and where do they plant them? They plant them in the shade. Or vice versa, they pick shade-loving plants and they put them in full hot sun. All this is explained quite clearly on the labels. You have to pay attention to those labels. That is really, really critical. If you're not sure, you need to ask the people at Dundee. We will help you gear up the plants that you've picked, the colors you picked, the forms you've picked, and help you put them in the absolute best exposure, sun, shade. The other thing that I think a lot of people ignore is fragrant plants. I love using plants like some of the lilacs, some of the viburnums. They are so, when they're flowering, the flower is wonderful, but the fragrance is just stupendous. These really need to be planted near a front walkway, near a porch, near a deck. And every time you pass it, day in and day out, you're going to get this wonderful fragrance of these plants. So consider those plants for those areas. Soil conditions. You can't ignore soil conditions. Next to sun and shade, soil conditions are of utmost importance. As you're buying these plants or looking at plants, ask the sales rep here about what conditions do we need to maintain in order to have optimum growth and health of these plants. Too dry, too wet for that plant, it's just taking that money and throwing it away. We need to know the exposure. And the final thing is for us is, if you have any questions or you have some design problems, take pictures of these areas, bring these pictures to us, we'll sit down with you, we'll help pick plants that you're in favor of and that we know are going to look and do well in those locations. Thank you.